A very good morning, all. Today we discuss the performance management system and what are the elements of performance management system. We know very well the performance management is the systematic process by which the development of HR involves employees as individuals and members of a group in improving organizational effectiveness in accomplishment of the organizational objectives and the mission of the mission of the organization. So for this, the performance management comprises of various vital HR functions like a continuous progress review, the real-time feedback from their employees, frequent communication, training employees for improving their performance, recognizing good work and working conditions, rewarding improved performance, and goal setting, etc. And a performance management system helps the HR managers to establish clear performance expectations through which employees can easily understand what is expected of their jobs. And they also allows the managers to reinforce on their employees the individual accountability to meet their goals and evaluate their own performance. So an effective performance management system has the components which are mentioned in this diagram, and then we start with the performance objectives and the standards. So what are the performance objectives? Why it is important? So if you want to get the good performance from your employees, or if you want to motivate your employees to offer good performance, so it is only possible with the other elements or other components related to the performance management system. So here we discuss one by one, and before going to that, we have to know why the company or organization need performance management system. If there is no system, so nobody will trust the performance measure. Or else, in on what grounds we are giving the performance rewards, or the promotion, or other job roles, etc. That's the reason we have to be very transparent, and then you have to set the objectives based on these criteria. So before going to the performance standards, you have to know what is the worth of your employees, and then what are the pros and cons of the work and working condition, and which technology you use, and how can it results with the help of employees. Each and everything you have to know, and then based on that only you can put a standard, a performance standard. So if you have a clear objectives and the clear goal setting mechanism, especially the objective or the goal setting is not a small task, it is a big task, because which is the base for your system. So before going to set up your objectives or goals, you need to know what is your planning, because planning is a crucial component of performance management. And setting challenging goals, what type of goals which motivates the employees to improve their performance than having no goals at all. These goals are not just meant to be set for individual employees. They work better if you have department goals, and if it aligns with the other organizational goals, so that it is very easy to take the considerable factor by the employees. A performance management system that doesn't allow you to set goals or plan doesn't contribute to improve the organizational productivity. These goals are generally set both by the manager and their direct reports. So discussing and the setting goals together helps the managers and their employees gain a better understanding of the current performance and their further performance abilities. That is the need of the objectives and standards. So next one is performance appraisal process. So this in this component, the communication plays a key role. Performance appraisal process, the communication plays a key role. So the next component is The performance management system is the communication. It have an effective performance management system in your organization, helps you create a culture of ongoing communication about you and your team goals and training, etc. It is always good to follow up on what your direct reports are working on and how they are managing to meet their goals, etc. So in performance appraisal process, we generally consider the reviews. In this, it is a part of the manager to give their reviews about the performance of their direct reports. These reviews are generally annual or quarterly. The general procedures of reviews is that the employees are first allowed to rate themselves. It's called a 360-degree appraisal system that generally we have to know the self-evaluation also. And it is an important aspect of performance reviews that has changed recently peer review, evaluation. Uh, and it allows the employees to evaluate their managers and help them to understand where they can improve themselves and how can they improve, etc. The process of the rating one's manager can be complicated, but it once it becomes into a practice, so the overall productivity will increase. So that type of appraisal process today we existed in organizations, and the Infosys has created a separate block for the performance appraisal systems, as well as the IBM also they are having the same system. But the traditional companies still they are more depending on the reports given by the managers and the other key players in the organization. But they need to change. And they have to also consider the voice of their employees, and they have to arrange the 360-degree appraisal system. So if they introduce the system into traditional or small scale organizations also, it will be beneficial for the overall objective of the nation. So because every company is a part of the industry requires the standard performance management system, right? After that, we have another component, managing underperformance under disciplines. It was really a challenging for the organization, especially the HR managers, because these people are responsible for getting the performance from each and every individual in the organization. There is no bias, and then everything is transparent here. So the managers has to train the underperformers and get them to work uh, and to achieve the organizational objectives or the target given by the organization. For this, they practicing the training and the development programs to underperformers. It is a separate track, and the HR has more worry about this type of underperformance because we have so many rules and regulations which stops to remove those employees, and they may offer the minimum or acceptable performance, but it is not required for the company. The company always required good performers because they are investing more on the company and the people. And this performance, which is possible with only the discipline, without a proper discipline of the individuals, we cannot perform well. If you have a good discipline and have good principles, automatically you can perform well. So that's the reason. So we start the class with 3Ds, and the first D is only the discipline. Without discipline, we can't success. Even though if you are succeeded, you should stop at one place, so you don't have no more. But if you have the discipline, there is no end. So every time you rock your responsibilities, you can rock your objectives one by one. So that's only possible with the discipline. So here the matter is, how can we improve underperformance? So we will train, but there is no result. Again you train, no result. Again you train, no result. Then what will you do? Yes, definitely again you have to give a training, or you send them to the psychologist. So we have industrial experts or psychologists, so that we give some particular counseling to them. In that counseling, they may have revealed why they don't give good performance. It may be a personal problem, or it may be an general problem. It may be a working condition, or it may be a relationship with the supervisor, or else the manager and the team. So if you identified that, you simply change according to the individual's uh, perception. If it required to change the team of the employee, you should change it. You don't worry about that, but because the work environment and team spirit is very important for performing well. If you are unable to change that employee and still you continue with the same team or same under the same supervisor, it may not get the expected result. You just change it. So once you change, and again you have to evaluate that employee's performance, because if you change and then if there is no change in result, it doesn't matter of giving a counseling to that employee. Even though there is no change, then you have to give a memorandum to that employee that you are not performing well in so many months, or else for several years or something, so that the employee also realized, and they may go for either reason, or they try to get some instructions from supervisor and may perform well. It may be an one of the advantage in this particular performance management system. You have a clear data, and then this data is very transparent and accurate. If the HR manager doesn't have the accurate information about a particular employee, it may be an headache to the HR people, because you don't have any results. You speak with the results rather than you speak with your productions. No productions will be allowed in a performance management system. Only the accurate data, or else the information which is obtained from a proper channel or hierarchy is only the key. That's the reason we have to know underperformance and how they are doing. Everything you have to know, and then based on these things only you can prepare a performance management system, right? And next one is reward and remuneration strategy. What is the reward? So why reward? So before going to reward, we have to know we have to know what is the importance of reward. We know very well the performance is equal to expectation. The performance is equal to expectation. Once we are performing well, automatically the employee thinks about how much reward or what type of reward or recognition I get from my organization. So because we have two types of rewards, so one is a financial reward, and another one is a non-financial reward. So if it is a financial reward, they have a regular culture, so that we can expect. If it is a non-financial reward, so that may be changed from 1 year to another year, right? And another thing is the remuneration strategy. What is remuneration strategy? In remuneration strategy, so before going to that, we know what is remuneration. Remuneration is giving for a specific task. So it is not a salary, or it is not a wage. It is entirely different from salary and wage. Remuneration is given for only one particular task. For example, lastly we speak about underperformers. So that one counselor come and then they give counseling to one employee, then they will charge something. The charge is called a remuneration. So you have to prepare that remuneration strategy also. So based on these things, we have to know the reward and remuneration strategies. And the next element or component is the development plans and learning and the development activities. So how can we know the development plans? So after giving a proper training, so that the employees may motivated to work more, and then they have to set their own development strategies. So with the help of organization, they plan for it, because every organization they have a promotion policy, and then based on that the employees develop themselves, and the development starts with only learning. Without learning new objects, or without learning a new concern, we are unable to get any development. So if you have a development activity who starts with only learning, so if you are learn every time, because the learning is a continuous process. If you learn, so that you have a chance to develop. Based on that only you can plan, and then you give priority for your development activities. And next component is performance management policies. So we have different types of performance management policies, but you have to take a standard policy that the employees and the other organizational culture, whatever it influences your policy, you simply should follow it. Because if you want to change your policy, you have to consider several things. It may be a challenge for your HR manager, and then the employees also adopt that new type of performance management policy. But we have a standard policy that the work is equal to value. That is a very important aspect. Whatever the policy you prepare for your organization, you should think about value is equal to the work given by the employee. That is your formula before you frame any policy. So we have one query from a student, that is performance appraisal process. In performance appraisal, it is a continuous process of evaluating and documenting an employee's performance with a view to enhancing work quality or output and efficiencies. Generally, the performance appraisal performs three important functions with companies. They provide the feedback to a person on their overall contribution period, and these appraisal process gives us uh, mm, the good feedback from your employees. So what are those three are they provide feedback to a person on their overall contribution for a period. That is the first one. Second one is that they identify development needs and opportunities for improvement. So in this process, we have to know what is the need of the appraisal, and how can it will be a future opportunity for improvement of those people. And then the third one is they help inform the salary and bonus reviews. So what is the structure also very important. So for this, we use generally the performance appraisal forms that is actually available at our offices. And then for every year, they have to distribute to their employees, and the supervisor evaluate all these things. Sometimes it is directly evaluated by HR. And today we are using the software performance management system software. It allows the employees to give the 60-degree appraisal, so that it is very transparent to know about each and every employees and their ratings and their rankings in this particular performance appraisal process. So now today it is very easy, and we can easily get the performance of each and every employees today. In previous days we only use the books, but today we only use the technology. And linkages of performance management to other processes. What are the linkages? And we know very well it is a combination of different processes we have. And we start with job analysis. We know very well as the HR or HRM, we have a concept of job analysis. In that we have two types, two components are the job description and job specification. And here we have job description. In job description, we have to describe what is job, and what is the roles and responsibilities you performed in your job. And next one is setting key performance indicators and accountabilities. So in key performance indicators, we have to know which is the important aspect for performing well. That is the HR duty to maintain this. And in order to perform well or work effectively, it must be encouraged and supported by strong leadership. So the leader has to identify the key performance indicators, and then they motivate the employees to take more responsibilities to, and they make them the people or employees accountable also, so that we can take it a consider for HR activities. And the next one is the recruitment and onboarding. So we know very well that recruitment is a process of getting applications from the candidature, and here we consider the talent of the people, because today we require skilled people rather than unskilled. So because if they are skilled, we can turn them into different positions. So they have a development activity, it will yield a good results to organization, and they may align their talents to organizational objective. And we can set expectations based on the recruitment of the people. So if you recruit a person, so that you have some expectations how the people are helpful for organization, and then how can give the best to organization, that we evaluate in the recruitment stage. So we have some considerations, especially if those who are more experienced in industry. So expectations may be high. If it is a fresher, so we have very less expectations. That depends on the quality of the people. And the next one is setting performance standards. So we have already discussed in performance management system. We should have a standard. It is a minimum standard which is given by organization, and we try to get a best. So when you recruit a person, we can think about whether this person give a minimum expectation or not. Yes, if it is, if they can offer, so that we can consider them as our employee, we can give a placement. And after recruitment, we simply give them a training and development programs. After that, we start to analyze or evaluate the person's performance. So then the reward and recognition has started. So identify great performance. So who will get a reward? Definitely it is a great performer. So if you are the great performer, the best performer, definitely you will get a reward as well as the recognition. Some people, they are not work for money, even though they are having enough money. Go for the recognition. So identify the great performance, so that it will be definitely a motivator, and you just reward them with a great performance, so that you will get a good results from each and every employee. They may motivate it. And we have a feedback mechanism system. So without feedback, you cannot get the proper reward and recognitions process. And in feedback, we know the reality of the employees, because some particular people, they may manipulate. If it is a for example, if you distribute a questionnaire, and then you get the performance appraisal forms from your employees, they may be manipulated at one stage, so that you have to consider the direct feedback from your employees, and then better use a software. Today it is available at cheaper rates also, so that the people has opined that you have a good culture. It may yield good performance from your employees, and because here the trust is equal to the motivation. So without a trust on your performance process or evaluation criteria, you may not get the expected results. That's a very important and a key aspect while we are announcing the reward and recognition organization. And performance appraisals, setting expectations and accountabilities or disciplinary process. So it is very crucial today, because if you have a discipline that you need to achieve, or you need to meet the standards given by our organization, and then you have a discipline that to offer a good results rather than the previous result. So you have to set that standards, so that you can perform well. If not, then you require a coaching. You require a coaching. So the coach will come, and then they coach you. They are very specialized, and they can tackle your psychological aspects. Why don't you perform well, and what are the reasons? Everything they know, and then based on that only they will give a proper coaching. And then again they will take the feedback from you. Based on that feedback only, they can give some particular suggestions to you, as well as the same will forward it to your HR manager. Based on that, they will take a decision. This is about the disciplinary processes. And next one is learning and development. Learning is a continuous process, and then we have great theories of learning. And here, why we learn? Yes, you definitely learn because you want to uh, fill the gap of your skill and then your performance. Because if you are a poor performer, it means that you have some gap. You need to learn something, or you are unable to do. So whatever the case it is, you need to learn. If it is a lack of skill, you can learn, or if you are unable to do, and then how to do, you learn from your supervisors, or else you learn from different theories by others in different textbooks, or the industry reports. You take that and you will learn so many things, so that we can easily fill that gap uh, uh, every time. So if it is a skill gap, it may be a question mark. Who will train you? That's definitely your supervisor or manager, and even the HR manager has considered, because without having a proper skills, you cannot work well. You not maybe a good performer. That's the reason also they have to give them a training. So if that is not available at your organization, they may send outside to develop your skill. They have given that particular chance to the employees. If you have really a learning aspect, so everybody will encourage you. So you don't think that you are not able to learn the skill. You just try. You try, and then you give the same information to your supervisor. They may help you. In most of the cases, your supervisor or else the HR manager, they will definitely arrange these particular learning objectives, and coaching and mentoring. Here, if you have a skill gap or some other gap, it definitely meet or overcome or resolve by your coach or mentor. Definitely they will resolve, because they are very expertise, and then they are specialized in this particular filling gap. So that definitely they will help, and they will show you a path to overcome these particular gaps, so that this type of learning may be more useful for your future objectives. And training and skill development, it is now today, it is an emerging and thrust area in each and every organization. Till this day, we have a lack of skilled people for each and every industry. The government has announced it to having a good skilled people. That's the reason we have one program named Skill India. Skill India. Why they introduced Skill India? They identified that. So why don't we perform well? Why don't our companies till losses? The reason is that because of the skilled people. Everybody is learned. Everybody is having the certificates, but they don't have the skills. That is only the gap in the industry. So you are technically not strong, but you are what is that? Criteria is good. So you have MBA degree, but you don't have HR skills. What is the use of that particular certificate? So you need to learn what is the thing we learn, and how can we mold yourself. Oh, today we have enough resources that we learn. We have YouTube live classes, and we have Swayam, and we have so many platforms. They are offering industrial trainings, or else general training programs, and based on that we can learn more skills. It may be only possible with an intention to learn. So even though if you are an MBA student, you may learn new subjects in HR area, trust areas. So immediately you may get a good job results. You can get a learn the SAP in HR. So they are offering a number of skilled programs. Immediately you will got at the rate of 40,000. So everything is possible. But here you have to know what is the learning, and then how can you learn. And the last one is succession planning. What is succession planning? Also, it is very useful for high performance, because everybody they have their own career plan, and then so if you have a career objective, it is not at all a myth. You need to know what is the success path. That's the reason you have to read number of successful person stories. That gives a good path to us, and then it shows the way you success. And it is mainly concentrate on identify high performers. Identify high performers. If you are success, it means that you are perform well. And then based on that, we can have a career planning also. In career planning, we have to plan what is our next level. So now you are assistant manager of a company, and then you want to become a CEO of a company. So what is your career plan? You want to still continue with the same company, or you want to go for the next level company? If it is the same company, what is your planning? How can you become HR and then after that CEO? What is your plan? What type of skills you required for it? What are the mandatory certificates required, and what are the mandatory performance, and which is compulsory to exhibit to your top management? What is your section planning? Everything it is coming on the performance management process, which are very closely linked with the performance management. As a HR, you have to know everything, and then you link with the existing